center field. This ball's crushed.
Astros are back in town as we welcome you to downtown Houston. We continue with the Lone Star Series, the winner getting the silver boot. So far, the Astros leading the overall season series by a couple of games over the Texas Rangers. Tonight kicks off a 3-game weekend set. The Astros currently lead the A's by 5.5 games. Oakland finally lost a game yesterday, while the Astros victorious in their series finale against the Angels. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Todd Callis alongside Geoff Blum. My first game back since the All-Star break, so I'm well rested. How about you?
I'm doing good. I think this light in here is a little bit brighter than I'm accustomed to, maybe because of the lack of sleep.
Red eye for Blummer and the rest of the Astros last night, but it was a good bounce-back series for Houston, as it was when they played the Rangers in Arlington. Both times, the road trip, the Astros went 0-2 to start the series and came back to win the next 2 games. It was a little dire in Anaheim the first 2 games when they went to the opener, and it didn't go so well. But then Gerrit Cole, Wade Miley able to bounce back, and so was the offense. It was a really good wrap-up to what could have been a disappointing trip.
Yeah, and the 4 games that they did lose, it was really that hitting with the runners in scoring position that really created the issue, because we know all season long the Astros do a very good job of getting runners on base. It's just a matter of getting that big hit. When they get the big hit, things are going right, but they've also gotten the pitching from Gerrit Cole and Wade Miley. The numbers between them at 9 and 4, but the 2.64 ERA and the opponent batting average with runners in scoring position is very good. Everybody else scuffling a little bit. They're going to turn to JV today to hopefully get things going.
Yeah, unfortunately, Verlander right now is in that others category. He hasn't been his absolute best, but if you look at his overall body of work, the macro picture, he's been one of the best in all of baseball in 2019. Verlander with some good numbers against the Rangers. He'll try and improve that tonight as we get you ready for baseball on this Friday evening. On AT&T Sports, brought to you by Rooms to Go, where you get great furniture prices and delivery is fast and easy. By PNC Bank. PNC Bank, proud to be investing in our communities and cheering on our sports teams. And by Champion Energy Services, the exclusive electricity provider of the Houston Astros. The Astros will put their best American League home record on the line tonight, the first of 3 against the Texas Rangers. Michelle Margot will be by to tell us about tonight's starter, Justin Verlander, after this.
Welcome to Minute Maid Park. The Astros are back at home for game 1 of 3 against the Texas Rangers, and the Astros are putting their ace out there today in Justin Verlander. Now, if you look back to his first start of the season against Texas, he actually struggled a little bit, but he has since made adjustments and has dominated, and that is why he is our Texas power pitcher today, brought to you by your local Ford dealers. In his last 3 starts against the Rangers, he is 3-0 with a 1.35 ERA and has a 182 slugging percentage allowed, which is important because of that Achilles heel of keeping balls in the yard. And in his career as an Astro, he has 10 starts against Texas, and he has the best ERA of any pitcher during that time with 30 or more innings pitched against the Rangers. And I asked Rangers manager Chris Woodward what he thinks separates Justin Verlander from every pitcher in the league, and he said he uses JV as an example to his guys because he's constantly pushing himself to get better and move the needle despite the already impressive career he has had. And he said that he admires how he wants to adjust and reinvent himself, and that he wishes that he had an entire roster full of Verlanders. And that's pretty high praise, TK and Geoff.
It really is, and you have to, in this game, continue to adjust, because if you don't, the league adjusts on you.
Exactly right, and he is getting back into form with that high velocity, and a lot of the numbers that you're seeing, there it is, in the last 30 starts against Texas, he has the best ERA with that 2.36, but he is a workaholic, and now you add the information that he does get from the Houston Astros, and that adds up to some very good numbers. The only thing that's really been the flaw for Justin Verlander is to what Michelle was talking about, the home runs given up. He has given up 26 home runs on the season. 3 starts this season out of the 20, he has not given up a home run, 2 of them against the Texas Rangers.
18 of those 26 home runs on the fastball, and he's actually gone more to the slider and curveball this year than we've seen in the past for Verlander. That's one of the adjustments Michelle was mentioning, and JV will face this lineup for Chris Woodward, who had that high praise of Verlander. For the Texas Rangers tonight, Shin-Soo Choo will lead things off. He's a career 189 hitter against JV. Danny Santana has been red hot for the Rangers. He'll be at first base. Elvis Andrus is hitting third at shortstop. Joey Gallo is the center fielder, batting in the cleanup spot. Hunter Pence will DH and bat 5th. Nomar Mazara is in right field, batting 6th. Rougned Odor at second base will bat 7th. Asdrubal Cabrera hits 8th. He'll play 3rd. And Geoff Mathis behind the plate and batting 9th. Astros starting defense presented by Xfinity. Usually when Justin Verlander's on the mound, that means Jake Marisnick is in center field. To start for Tony Kemp in left field, just his 7th start of the season in left. George Springer will be the right fielder tonight. On the infield, Alex Bregman will be back at third base. That means Miles Straw gets his 10th start of the season at shortstop. Jose Altuve and Yuli Gurriel on the right side. And for every start of Justin Verlander's 2019 season, Robinson Chirinos has been behind the plate. Glad you could join us on this Friday night. Blummer, good to be back with you. We have about just over 60 games left now. We're approaching the 100 game mark. And the Astros a little bump in the road on that road trip, but able to come home at least with a 500 record.
Yeah, it hasn't been like it has been in the last couple of years as far as road record and that offense really exploding. It's kind of sputtering at times, but they did pick up a couple of those games in both of those series to salvage these splits on the road, and that's what you want to do. Good teams play 500 on the road and win out at home, and they've been very good at home.
So the Astros ready to go. Justin Verlander kicking off the homestand as he delivers to Shin-Soo Choo, and we're underway with a foul ball back to the screen.
How you been?
I've been good. How about you?
I'm tired.
Yeah, I would think. I would say you were probably like everybody else in the Astros dugout and on the field right now wearing the orange tops, a little bit sleep deprived.
Just a little bit, yeah. We got to the ballpark at 5:30, but these guys are gamers. They'll be good today. It's always that second day you kind of worry about a little bit. And luckily, Justin Verlander getting to get that early flight out came in last night, so he should be refreshed.
Yeah, I think JV and myself are the two most refreshed, and our producer, Carl Patterson.
I think I heard a couple of guys in the back of the plane harping on you about getting here and having the time off and timing it perfectly. Might have been
veteran move.
Yeah, exactly, it was.
Look at that schedule. You're like, huh.
This could be a good time.
Night flight back from Anaheim? That could be a good time for a day off. Chew down on the count 0-2. Yeah, the good news on that trip for a lot of different reasons was here you are coming out of that Texas Rangers series where you split the series, and A.J. Hinch, who had only had one opener in his whole career as a manager back when Brad Peacock got a start in Seattle last year, all of a sudden was facing back-to-back games where he really had to juggle things. And those first 2 games in Anaheim did not go well as Choo sends one into right field, and back there is Springer. He is going to get there for the first out of this game. So it really could have gotten away from the Astros, but then to rebound and win those last 2. And I'm not so sure if I'm the Angels, if, you know, hitting Jake Marisnick was the best time plan, because it seemed like a sleeping bear woke up a little bit.
Well, and the Angels really could have gone out there and just hit him in the rib cage, hit him in the thigh, and said, okay, we're moving on. But instead, with Noe Ramirez decided to get up around that neck shoulder area, all of a sudden that spark was lit in the Astros dugout. They went on a tear the next 2 games, and hopefully that's what galvanizes them and pushes them through the end of the season.
Here's Danny Santana taking a called strike. Now, this is a season filled with storylines and ebbs and flows, and the Astros currently with that lead in the AL West. It was shrinking a little bit during that road trip, but nice to pick up a game on the Oakland A's last night as Verlander misses down and it's 1-1. Santana last 6 games batting .538. And his last 4 games, 4 home runs. He's on a George Springer tear lately. The Rangers coming off a series where they were swept by the Diamondbacks, but this is the one guy who is really hitting well for them during that series and for the last week or so. Down and in, and Verlander has fallen behind Santana 3-1.
This guy's been an absolute nuisance to the Astros in that Ranger uniform.
He's finding a way to play at a lot of different positions for the Rangers as he sends one into left field, sending Tony Kemp back. He's near the wall. He's going to leap, and this ball's fair ball off the top of the wall. Kemp couldn't make the play, and into second base with a double goes Danny Santana.
If Tony's right shoulder's all right. MD Anderson strike zone is going to give you an idea of the location of that pitch. Up, out on the outside corner. Again, Danny Santana in the series he has played against the Houston Astros just has to touch it. But Tony Kemp leaping doesn't have enough. That wall knocking him down and the baseball.
It's funny, when we were doing our game last year from center field, you could see a different angle on that out-of-town scoreboard wall than we see normally from our perch here behind home plate. And there's a little ledge there, right above the scoreboard where that ball hit, and it actually was out of the sight line for Tony Kemp momentarily when it hit that ledge.
But again, you're on the road for 8 days. You get used to having some of these spacious outfields where you know you can run back and track the baseball a little bit farther. But Minute Maid is not one of those places. And there you see right above that 9 on the top is where it gets off the top of the wall. And you're right, we didn't realize how many nooks and crannies and ledges there were until we were sitting out there in those great seats above the batter's eye.
Hopefully we'll do that again before the season's out. We have plans to. Elvis Andrus bats and takes a called strike. It's 0-2. Elvis said, "Is that a strike, Dan Iasonia?" I thought that might have been in. It's 0-2. It's been one of those stretches here for Elvis.
It's just beautifully painted on the inside corner.
He is just 8 for 41 his last 11 games after an outstanding month of June where he had 37 hits, second in the AL to DJ LeMahieu. And a little more of a struggle this month. Struggled to the point where in his last home game he brought back his walk-up music from earlier in the year.
Oh boy. You want to hum a few bars from that?
No, I'm okay.
You're good?
I think if I did, it would be in the viewers' heads the rest of the night.
That's a good call, actually.
But it's his son's favorite song. It's called Baby Shark. I'm sure everybody's aware of it by now. Yeah, I came back. When you're struggling, you go back to your original music when things were going well. As Andrus takes one in the dirt, it's 2-2. Robinson Chirinos knows this opposing team better than anybody that he'll face all year long, spending his majority of his career with the Rangers. Just a piece to stay alive for Andrus.
Yeah, that was a great pitch. Good slider down and away. That's exactly where you want it.
Slider being thrown 26.7% of the time this year for Verlander. That is the highest percentage of his career. And why not? He's got a sub 100 batting average against the slider and a 350 OPS. Just a piece of it to stay alive. Rangers have an interesting trip on their hands. It's a 10-game trip beginning with 3 in Houston. They'll also play Seattle and Oakland as you check out the slider chase rate. Nobody better in the major leagues than Justin Verlander. And this 10-game trip for the Rangers will conclude right around the end of the trade deadline. And right now, you've got to think Texas is one of those tweener teams. They start the night 10 games back of the Astros, but also in the mix for the wild card picture as well. And 4 games over 500, but 10 games back. I know the players would love to see the Rangers keep the team intact. There's a swing and a miss at the slider. Verlander, who picks up more strikeouts via the slider than any other pitch, has his first strikeout of the night.
Go to the slider early. I know that Andrus likes to take that fastball away and shoot it the other way, and with the runner in scoring position, Verlander stayed heavy on that slider down and away, and the matches from Supermo gives you an idea what the lower half was thinking and the upper half not matching up with it. But there's some of that good spin away from the swing of Elvis Andrus. Good break on that.
That was a great matchup between Andrus and Verlander. Here's Joey Gallo.
Our scouting report is presented by your Greater Houston Honda dealers. Some of the averages against those pitches, and that's what TK's talking about. That slider at 0.95 in comparison to other major league pitchers at 216. So he's elite with elite stuff. Curveball's gotten in the mix here recently, too.
I mentioned the slider percentage is the highest of his career. The curveball percentage this year is the highest we have seen since 2011. That was a decent year.
Yeah, take that. Hardware.
Cy Young at MVP season, the last time he's thrown the curveball as much. And for Verlander, he feels like it's a different game now, and he's talked about that. There was a lot made during the All-Star game when he mentioned how balls are flying out of the ballpark. So he said you have to miss bats now. He said the game's changed, and that's why he's throwing more off-speed stuff than ever before in his career, as he's ahead 1-2 on Gallo.
Yeah, and that's what's crazy, too, is he's always had the good fastball, the good curveball, but coming over to Houston, he knew he needed an extra pitch that could replicate the fastball coming out of the hand, create a little more deception. And he comes over here, works on that slider. Now it's the third pitch that he's got that is above average for the swing and miss.
Gallo will swing and miss on occasion. He's improved this year, but still 103 strikeouts. Now 104 as Verlander strikes him out to end the first inning. One hit, one man left on. George spent off a great road trip, including 4 home runs in 4 games against the Angels in Anaheim. That ties Craig Biggio for the most home runs from a leadoff spot in any series in Astros history. George hitting them to center and the opposite way, now up to 22 home runs on the year, the same number he had all of last season. And here is tonight's starting lineup for the Astros, with George at the top, followed by Jose Altuve. Alex Bregman plays third and bats third. Yordan Alvarez will bat cleanup. Yuli Gurriel hits fifth at first base. Robinson Chirinos behind the dish. Jake Marisnick in center field. Tony Kempis at left and Miles Straw the shortstop. Lefty Mike Minor gets the start tonight for the Texas Rangers. Astros saw him in his last start. That was just 6 days ago, as George checks his swing on a strike. Springer 9 for 22 against Minor, including a home run and 6 walks.
Some of the numbers on Mike Minor, and this is one of the guys that will be interested on how the things go on this road trip leading up to that trade deadline. He is highly appealing with those numbers as a left-handed pitcher.
Yeah, I think he would be one of the key pieces if there is a trade to be made for the Rangers. He would probably get the biggest return of the guys that makes sense to be moved for Texas.
Yeah, he's been outstanding. Pitched well last time out against the Astros, giving up 4 earned runs, but it was a big home run from Alex Bregman that knocked him out after 5 innings.
George looked like he had that opposite field power stroke going in Anaheim.
You know what was great about what happened in Anaheim for him is we always talk about how big left field is there, and obviously George has plenty of power to get out of any ballpark in America. But he did a great job of taking advantage of that right field wall being lowered. Before, you had to launch it up into the seats. Now they lowered it, and you just had to get it over that first maybe 6 foot, 8 foot wall. And he did it 3 times. It was beautiful.
Takes one down and in. And George gets hit by that pitch. George went down to the ground, and he's hit by the pitch on a 2-strike delivery from Minor.
Never too early to salvage. Mattress Firm Supermo is going to show you where it gets George. Maybe the top of the foot. Oh, right off of Sergeant Holka on the right side. Ouch.
Sergeant Holka. It's good to be back with you.
Yeah, it is good to have you back.
How about that? A little hit by pitch down 1-2, and George is on first. Here's Jose Altuve. He's a .400 hitter in his career against Mike Minor. And Altuve aggressive early, swings and misses. It's 0-1. You see what Jose has done his last 14 games. If you take it back to his last 23 games since the IL, still over 300 and has that average up to 270 to start tonight's play. Battling a little 0 for 7 right now at the end of the Angels series, as he hooks one foul and down to the count 0-2.
And that's probably been the biggest issue right there, is rolling over some of the off-speed pitches on the outside corner, getting around them instead of staying up the middle the other way. When he's been going well and getting those hits like he was in Arlington, it was up the middle the other way. and turning on some of those fastballs. Had that home run to center field, that big grand slam to center field in Arlington.
Astros tacking on another grand slam on that road trip to their already franchise record. Altuve hitting the 9th grand slam of the season for the Astros. And this ball sent in the air to shallow left. Long run for Chu, still on the move, and he's going to play it on a hop. Springer had to hold up, and he was able to get to second base and no further. That ball was in the air a long time, and Altuve has himself a hit.
Altuve'd be a really good real estate agent. He always finds the best locations, doesn't he?
He does.
Wow. He's been pulling a lot of pitches, but this one off the end of the bat drops in front of Chu. Looked like he might have had a bead on it or was going to go into a slide and try and make the play, but instead he pulls up, lets the ball drop, and you've got runners on first and second.
That's one. As a pitcher, when you see the ball off the bat, you're thinking out number one. Instead, he's sitting here with first and second, nobody out, and Alex Bregman the batter. Bregman having a big year against the in-state rivals. 372 against the Rangers with 5 home runs and 10 runs batted in. Alex starting the night with a .403 on base percentage and .944 OPS, both good for 3rd in the American League. Alex down on the count 0-2. Yordan Alvarez waits on deck as a cleanup hitter. No lefties that normally are in the outfield lineup for A.J. Hinch in terms of Michael Brantley in left and Josh Reddick in right tonight in the lineup against the lefty Mike Minor. A.J. getting a chance to give Tony Kemp a start. Miles Straw starting at shortstop tonight. Jake Marisnick in center. Alex checked his swing on a ball back to the backstop. Sounded like a foul ball, but apparently it just deflected off the mitt of Jeff Mathis for a ball. It's 1-2.
Yeah, I'm kind of taking a peek to see if Jeff Mathis is going to go out there and have a talk, because we saw this in the series in Arlington where a pitch up, Mathis just didn't really extend to go get it. And with that ball shooting back off the padding behind home plate, George did a good job of hitting the brakes and getting back to second base. It's an interesting play.
Yeah, the old bounce back off the backstop. Not to Mathis in a hurry. On the ground towards third, backhanded by Cabrera, and they get the 2 outs at third and second. Double play that Bregman hits into and reaches first base. Altuve and Springer retire.
Yeah, not your typical double play, but that ball taking Cabrera to the bag, trying to go around the horn. But I don't think Odor had a very good grab on the baseball out of his glove to make that turn, and with Alex hustling also contributing to him holding on to that baseball. Pretty good idea.
So here's Yordan Alvarez.
This guy might have been the reason why they tried for the triple play.
Right? RBIs aplenty for Alvarez, 31 in his first 26 major league games. He is one of just 3 major leaguers to ever have that many RBIs in his first 26 games. Mandy Brooks in 1925 and Jose Abreu 5 years ago. That one's in. It's 1-1. Yordan with a 1,085 OPS to start tonight's play. Fourth start of the season for Minor against the Astros. Has not lasted more than 5 innings in his last 2 outings against Houston. This is away. It's 2-1.
A couple of good takes from Jordan. Again, one of the more impressive things we've seen from the young man, aside from the power, is the ability to lay off some pitches on the edges. But it's also interesting to watch a good pitcher like Mike Minor try and work both sides of the plate with that fastball.
Misses the fastball there, 2-2.
Challenged him.
Swing and a miss. Alvarez goes down for the final out. Minor, after first and second, nobody out, works through the inning.
Welcome back to Minute Maid Park. It is scoreless between the Rangers and the Astros in the top of the second inning. Well, the Astros are back in Houston, but not after experiencing an extremely brutal travel schedule. Not only did they have a shorter All-Star break by a game, but they also went on an 8-game road trip with no off day, and then they had a night game on the West Coast last night, landed at 4:30 a.m. this morning. The Bags got to the ballpark at 6 a.m. So needless to say, with all of the extra innings and tight ball games and the time zone changes, these guys are tired. And George Springer actually walked into the clubhouse today wearing a t-shirt with a very loud and clear message on it. It said, "Hey, sorry I'm late, I didn't want to come." But he did clarify that of course he wants to be here. More than anything, it was just a joke. But Geoff, you've had to play with some tough travel schedules. Is it more taxing physically or mentally?
Tell you what, this time of the year, Michelle, it is extremely tough on both sides. It's, you know, you're coming into the end of July, usually the dog days of summer. You're on an 8-game road trip, and you know that as soon as you get on the plane, what's interesting about playing in Anaheim is there's an airport 15 minutes away, but it has a curfew. So the Astros had to drive all the way to LAX, leave out of LAX, and you know as soon as you get in the air, you're losing, or you have gained 2 hours. So instead of landing after a 3-hour flight at 3:30 in the morning, like Michelle said, your bags are showing up at 6 a.m. You're driving against traffic. Everybody's starting their day, and you're trying to get a nap. But you find a way to battle through it. You know, the 1st and 15th help out, and also being in a pennant race help out.
Yeah, it's not a group that is well rested for sure. Most guys somewhere between 2 and 5 hours of sleep. And most of the players arrived a little bit later today than they normally would. Justin Verlander, as Blummer mentioned last inning, the lone exception. Verlander flew ahead of the team, knowing he'd be the starting pitcher tonight. That's usually a courtesy extended to a guy coming off a road trip or going to another city after a possible late arrival. And there's a called strike to Mazara. It's 1-1. Sometimes, Blummer, it's not necessarily that first night because you're filled up with adrenaline, but sometimes it catches up to you the second game.
Yeah, you have a little bit tougher time because you spent the entire day sleeping, maybe from 7 to 1 p.m., and then you show up at the ballpark and your clock is all messed up, but you are amped up because you're playing in your home yard, the fans are here, and then you show up the next day and you're like, woof, I'm gassed. You're a little bit tougher getting to sleep tonight, but these guys are professionals. They know how to go about it. The training staff also does a good job. You don't want to discount those guys because they're kind of in the same boat, and everything that they do is geared to get these guys ready for games. So there's different ways of doing it. We had our own way when I was playing.
Yes.
Yeah, you get tested for it now.
Yeah, not legal.
Didn't really have that issue. If you had to get it in the jar or take that particular pot of coffee out, you did.
Let it or unleaded.
Exactly right, TK.
1-2 the count to Nomar Mazara. Well, the other thing, and the Rangers are dealing with this as well, although Texas played at home and they had an off day yesterday. There's a perfect pitch right down the middle. Mazara expecting something other than a fastball as he goes down looking for the 3rd strikeout for Verlander.
Didn't break. He was looking for the power slider or maybe the curveball, and he locked him up at the heater. Yeah, there was a moment right there where Nomar Mazara went, oh. It's tough to guess in 2-strike counts. Usually a lot of hitters will sit on the fastball away and adjust to the off speed so that you don't get in a situation like that where you miss a hittable fastball.
Here's Rougned Odor with a runner on and one out. Hunter Pence with an opening single in right center this inning. Former Astro in his third game back for the Rangers, and now Odor takes a called strike. It's 0-1. But what the Rangers are dealing with also, in addition to the Astros, and I mentioned the Rangers had the off day yesterday and they were home, so they had a little bit of an advantage over Houston. But now that 3-day All-Star break feels short. It used to be the standard, a 3-day break for everybody in the major leagues, but now everybody is allowed that 4-day break, with the exception of the team playing on national TV on that Thursday, which happened to be Houston and Texas. So now all of a sudden that break feels a little tighter than it did in the past.
It really does, and we talked about how tough the stretch was for 3 weeks going into the All-Star break for the starters, for the bullpen. A lot of guys being used frequently, getting a couple of multi-inning outings in there. And then, like TK's saying, you have a 3-day break and immediately back into the season. So that's why the bullpen and these openers and trying to figure out bulk guys has been a real issue for A.J. Hinch and Geoff Luna.
And Verlander starting the All-Star game. Pitched outstanding, couple of strikeouts in a 1-2-3 inning. But for Verlander and the other 5 Astros that went to Cleveland, that's not much of a break. Verlander's second start coming out of the All-Star break. Both have been against the Texas Rangers.
And AJ tried to adjust that rotation with Cole, Miley, and then Verlander, try and back Verlander up, give him a couple of extra days rest. It actually seems like it's really benefited Cole and Miley. Splitting up Verlander, putting Miley in there is like just a little bit of a change up in that rotation, separating the power arms.
Yeah, I think AJ stated it well as the 0-2 pitch comes to Odor. Foul tip caught by Chirinos. Odor goes down swinging. That's 4 strikeouts for Verlander, 2 outs in the inning.
There you go, Cole, Miley, and Verlander versus all other starters this season. We know right now we're going through a stretch where we're seeing the openers in those 2 starts with Brad Peacock still on the IL. 61 starts. The Astros record is 42-19. And an overall whip under 1 for 3 guys is pretty impressive.
It's amazing. And those are the big 3. And you can see how good the team has been with those big 3. The question for the Astros as they try and pick up a 3rd consecutive 100-win season. This ball into left field off the bat of Cabrera. Long run for Kemp, and he'll watch it 1 hop off the fence. Pence to 3rd. He'll be held up there. A double by Cabrera the other way. Asdrubal Cabrera, 2-out double.
Tony got a good jump on this, but with that swing and the contact being a little bit off the end of the bat of the left-handed hitter, it kept tailing away from Tony. But a great job of getting it in quickly to keep the runner at 3rd base.
The Miles Straw trying to be the cutoff man there. A little wide throw, but he was ready to throw the ball home had Pence been sent. Miles still learning all the nuances of playing the middle infield after being an outfielder throughout his minor league career. Here's Jeff Mathis. You see his numbers against Verlander at the bottom, 1 for 20. And 13 of those 20 at bats have ended in a strikeout. A couple of strikeouts, a couple of hits this inning.
League leaders are presented by Houston Methodist. Highest left on base percentage. Justin Verlander leading the way at 89%. And there you see Wade Miley in that 6th position at 80%. Some very good pitchers who lock it down when they have traffic on the bases and keep them from scoring so they can keep their ERAs in check. Wade does it a little bit differently. Pitches to contact, uses that defense behind him, whereas Justin Verlander, Scherzer, Castillo, those guys can go for the strikeout.
Verlander ahead 0-2. Starting to mention what the Astros have in front of them if they are to win 100 games for the third year in a row and make a deep dive into the postseason. The big three just fine. It's what happens with the others that will determine the fate of A.J. Hinch's team. And maybe it'll be a new other in the next 10 to 12 days with the trade deadline looming. Cool view from behind home plate. And enjoying the Insperity Club tonight.
And the roof.
Yes, they are. Foul back 1-2. Roof is closed. It will be closed all the way till the end of the game, and then field back for the fireworks show, which will have a space theme tonight, kind of fitting. We celebrate the 50-year anniversary of man landing on the moon tomorrow. Does not get Mathis to chase. You could tell that's a pitch Verlander has struck him out on the pass. He was starting to hop off that mound.
Yeah, you know Geoff Mathis has seen it plenty of times, and it has led to that strikeout. Unfortunately for Justin, he does lay off this pitch. Still a very good one, just peeling off the outside edge. Maybe a little bit too much. But it took everything in Mathis to hold up on that one.
Just a piece to stay alive, and we'll do it again at 2-2. Got him. 97-mile-an-hour fastball for a called third strike, and Verlander strikes out 3 in the inning.
Now for the Chevy Stroh poll. Remember, you can go to @ATT Sportsnet SW and vote. Should be pinned at the top of the page. What will the biggest X factor in the Astros' success over the next few weeks? Will it be making an early trade, bullpen management, or Correa's return?
Get those votes in at AT&T Sportsnet SW. Carlos Correa continues to work his way back as Yuli Gurriel takes a called strike. When we last worked together in that series in Colorado, Yuli was about a week into a hot streak, and he has not slowed down at all. In fact, he's maybe picked it up a little bit somehow. Over the last 19 games, 11 home runs.
He's playing barrel ball. He's not playing baseball. Everything's been barreled. Just been racking up RBIs, power numbers coming back to him.
Starts the night with a 7-game hitting streak, batting .433 during that stretch. And overall, Yuli with a .287 batting average, and nobody better in baseball over the last 19 games in home runs or OPS than Yuli Gurriel. Has to battle here, though, down in the count 0-2. Doesn't chase that one. It's 1-2. The beginning of this streak of 19 games started when Yuli was in New York taking on the Yankees. Had a little conversation that seems to have really helped him with Carlos Beltran. Yuli does it again! Oh my goodness, stay hot, La Pina. 1-0 Astros. Number 17 on the season, his 12th in the last 20 games.
That was majestic. 31-degree launch angle, 386 the estimated distance. But that was a slider that bent right back into Yuli's swing. And you talked about it, TK. Everything's been off the barrel. He's been hitting the ball hard, and there's no way he's going to miss that one considering the position he's been in for the last 3-4 weeks.
Everybody needs a piece of that La Pina hairstyle because he has been as hot as anybody in the game.
Yeah, just paint that thing red and make it a flame.
Woo! 8-game hitting streak. And Robinson Chirinos bats with a foul ball back to the screen. Now it's 1-1.
That could be a good sign right there for Robinson Chirinos, laying off the pitch up in the zone. He's really had a tough time of late, and a lot of it due to the fact that he's chasing some of the fastballs up out of the zone. So you can see Mike Minor trying to work up there.
Yeah, a couple of months back to back with different results for Robbie. 906 OPS in June. Great month. And July has been a struggle for him, batting 108. Coming off a road trip where he went 2 for 18. But he is willing to take a walk at times. It's 3-1.
There it is. Matches from Supermo shows you that breaking ball coming right back, center cut, up in the zone. Yuli loves it. And Yuli launches. He dropped the bat immediately and went into that power trot.
That one's fouled away, and the count will be full. The adjustment, and again, there's a lot that goes into hitting, so it's not simply the conversation with Beltran that has changed everything for Yuli, but the adjustment Carlos Beltran told Yuli in New York was, try and see the pitcher with both eyes. Basically turned his head a little bit, maybe opened up slightly. Whatever happened for Yuli after that conversation, it's working. There's a ball up, and Robinson Chirinos, who has walked more than any other American League catcher, draws his 37th walk of the season.
Well, that conversation that Yuli had with Carlos Beltran is a very good example of how you can have a conversation with somebody other than your hitting coach, swing guru, whoever it is, and they'll say something so simple as where we would say, see the ball. Carlos Beltran says, use both eyes to see that ball as long as you can. That's, that sometimes it just takes somebody else saying it in a different way to have it click. And it has worked.
Here's Jake. Jake coming off a great series against the Angels, went 5 for 7.
Yeah, you know what, TK? It was really a lot of beautiful at-bats for Jake Marisnick.
I see where you went.
Emphasis on the boo.
Yeah.
He's everybody's boo.
Yeah, that was a tough trip for him, going back basically where he grew up, and had to play, as AJ Hinch said, the role of the villain, and handled it as well as any player with as much class as any player could have.
I don't think I've ever seen anything handled like that before, the way that Jake handled it.
Good take there on a pitch down, 2-1. Astros had a couple of base runners in the first inning against Minor, but a double play helped him through that inning. Yuli has started this inning off with a home run. Chirinos a walk, and now Marisnick ahead 2-1. Missed the fastball to even the count. That's called third strike on the outer edge. Marisnick goes down for the first out of the second inning. No Player Does More is presented by HEB. Jake Marisnick took this pitch from Noe Ramirez up in the upper shoulder area, was headed towards his neck and head area. Jake said, hey, listen, I'm going to wear this at first base. You guys get back. But that was Jake diffusing a situation that could have been ugly. And the rest of the series, Blummer, he was picking up base hits and stealing bases.
Well, he handled it the way you want to handle it. You want to go out there, yes, sometimes you get ticked off and you want to go out there and start brawls and fight everybody on the planet, but he handled it perfectly. He understood that he was the villain in that situation, according to the Angels. He knew there was a chance he was going to be hit. He took the hit by pitch, went to first. The Astros were upset with the location of the pitch, but he did a great job of diffusing the situation, saying, back it up, I'm going to take the hit by pitch, we're going to move on and play some baseball. And he actually did a very good job of going from the villain to the actual hero in that situation by rising above the entire fray that could have broken out right there and prove that Jake is everything we thought he was, which is a classy guy, and he took it to the game and basically tore the cover off the baseball and showed him, hey, man, let's go play some baseball.
Tony Kemp takes a pitch away, 2-1. He was probably, if not the most liked guy in the clubhouse, one of the most guys liked in the clubhouse going into this whole scenario, and he's come out of that somehow even more popular amongst his peers.
I completely agree, and around the league, I'm sure a lot of players took notice. A lot of his peers probably appreciated how he handled that situation.
Tony grounds one towards first. That's a foul ball. It's 2-2. Astros starting a 3-game series against the Rangers. Then they will welcome in the second-place Oakland A's into town for a 3-game set. Before the Astros will have their first off day since the All-Star break coming up after this 6-game homestand. Kemp 2 for 8 on the road trip, getting a chance to start tonight. Up and in, the count's full. Astros have beaten the Rangers all 4 times here at Minute Maid Park, but are 4-6 to close out their regular season series at Globe Life Park this year. Overall, Astros an 8-6 mark against the Rangers. That ball's popped high in the air on the infield, playable for Danny Santana right near the first base bag. Chirinos has to duck as Santana makes the play for out 2.
This year is the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 mission and the first landing on the moon. Come celebrate this monumental event with us during Monday night's game and commemorate the occasion with a special Orbit moon landing bobblehead ticket add-on package. To learn more or get your tickets, visit astros.com/Apollo11.
There's going to be a lot going on here over the next few days in Houston, Texas, and the Astros will certainly celebrate along with the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing. Here's Miles Straw. Straw takes one down for a ball. It's 1-0. Miles playing shortstop tonight, batting in that 9 spot. He has done a good job seeing a lot of pitches this year and drawing his share of walks. You see that on base percentage over 400. Low, 2-0. Straw knows the math right now on this roster. He does have options on this team. And he also knows that both Carlos Correa and Aledmys Diaz are making their way back to the active roster. Miles trying to take advantage of every opportunity as he rips one into center field for a base hit. Astros have 2 runners on with 2 outs. Straw clean single to center.
Straw has played himself into a commodity. Being able to play a competent shortstop and put together some great ABs has really made him highly appealing, I would imagine, to the Houston Astros, even if the numbers do come back where he is one of the odd men out. Unfortunately, he does have those options, so he is a little more available to get on that shuttle and go up and down, so to speak. But I think he's done a great job playing some shortstop and putting together at-bats. He's a guy who understands that his value is getting on base any way he can.
Here's George Springer batting for the 2nd time in as many innings. Springer was hit by a pitch on the right foot his first time up. Takes a strike. And with these roster decisions coming up with Correa and Diaz, I think most of our viewers understand the option game, but for those that don't understand when we say Straw has options, that means he can be optioned back and forth to the minor leagues as many times in one year as the Astros won, and it counts as one option. Whereas guys like a Tyler White, a Tony Kemp, who are out of options, you would have to lose them in essence. You'd have to designate them for assignment. And that would give you 10 days to either release them, trade them, or hope that they clear waivers, which would be unlikely, you would think, with those two names. So Straw might, in that scenario, be the guy that would be more likely to be sent to AAA Round Rock, but we'll see how it all plays out. Springer fouls one back. It's 1-2. A lot of pitches put on Minor here in the first 2 innings. This will be the 30th pitch of this inning. Little tapper towards short. And a shovel to get Straw for the force out, but the Astros take the lead.
And it was a big swing from one of the hottest hitters in their lineup, La Pena, lighting up that scoreboard and those Crawford boxes. Welcome home, Yulee, 1-0 Houston.
Join Monday for the Astros and A's, and make sure you get to the ballpark early because 10,000 fans receive a Carlos Correa bobblehead presented by Goya. For tickets and info, visit astros.com/promotions. TK.
All right, Michelle. We head to the 3rd inning. Michelle had some late night duties as well. She didn't have as long a commute as Blummer and the rest of the Astros, but she had to go from hosting pre and post game shows from the West Coast the last few nights. Nice work.
Thanks, TK. I must say I thought I was tired until I realized what these guys have to do.
Right? It's all relative. It is all relative. Shin-Soo Choo will lead things off against Justin Verlander here in the 3rd and takes a strike. So Michelle will be with us this series. Julia Morales will switch roles, and Julia hosting pre and post game shows for the weekend with Mike Stanton. And Michelle will be with us throughout the stadium and especially down by the Astros dugout here for this homestand with the Rangers in for 3 and then the A's in for 3. Oakland starting this night playing the Minnesota Twins, who they lost to yesterday. The A's are up early 2-0 in that game in Minnesota. This one's down and into Choo. It's 2-1. Choo flied out to right his first time up. Speaking of the A's, we haven't done a game in a while. You know, last year when the Astros were pushed to that 103 win season, the most in franchise history, the A's were aggravated.
Yeah.
They kept winning, and I'm getting that same feeling again.
I am completely 100% with you. And I don't know if it's an organizational thing, because it was even, you know, the early 2000s, the Moneyball situation, they go on these 20-game runs, and I don't know if it's an organizational thing or how they've created that culture, but the second half of the Oakland A's organization in past history has been very good, and I feel the same way about this ball club. Even though the A's didn't get off to an electric start to the season, they're playing very good baseball right now.
Unbelievable. There's a ball hit hard, but at Miles Straw, the outfielder turned infielder, makes the line drive catch for the first out as Choo is retired.
They're in a tough place tonight, though. Aren't they playing Minnesota?
Yeah, they're Target Field taking on the Twins.
They've got an early lead according to the Crawford box scoreboard out there, 2-0.
Yeah, and that's against the Twins' best starter in the first half, Jake Odorizzi.
He has been unbelievable.
But yeah, the A's and the Astros basically come in with the same run differential. Astros a little bit better, plus 99 to the A's plus 95. So it's not smoke and mirrors. The A's are getting the job done. Same number of runs scored as the Astros in one fewer game, and allowed 4 more runs than the Houston pitching staff. Andy Santana doubled his first time up and hits this ball hard in right field. This guy continues to pick up base hits against the Astros. He's 2 for 2 tonight. He doesn't just pick up hits against the Astros. He's hitting everybody.
It feels a little personal, TK. Because coming into this game, he was hitting .343 with 3 home runs. 6 RBIs, and he just keeps laying out knocks. And probably the best friend he has on the field is Yuli or Tyler White, who have been playing first base.
That's now 16 for 28 during his 7-game hitting streak. Here's Elvis Andrus. Elvis struck out swinging his first time up. He and Verlander had a great battle. Ball is down and in and almost hits Andrus. Got a pick by Robinson Chirinos for ball 1.
Yeah, just keeping that baseball where it was pretty impressive. They were set up inside, but that one was spiked. It's kind of interesting seeing that replay, and I was watching it on the last AB for Elvis Andrus. He is way up in the box. Front foot when he strides out is basically touching the front of the batter's box closest to the pitcher. And I wonder if a little bit of that's pretty close. And I wonder if a little bit of that is because he's trying to cut that slider off.
That's a great observation and probably the reason. We'll have to see where he is in the box as the series continues, but makes sense. AJ Hinch asking for a little time here so his guys can review that last play at first, and AJ's like, all right, we're good. Santana does have 11 steals in 16 attempts. That one is in tight at Andrus. Always likes to have fun up there as he probably misses his buddy Adrian Beltre a little bit, but he was saying I should have leaned that elbow in to take the hit batter.
Yeah, those are very Beltre-like tendencies to do something silly like that after the pitch.
And he's got his buddy Chirinos back behind the plate with a 2-0 count. There's that slider, 2-1.
You know, and in talking about a guy moving up in the box, there you can see stepping real close to almost out of the box in the front. This is an even better look at it on our match from Supermo. But you'll notice the catcher will move up, and if the catcher recognizes where that hitter's at and he has to move up, you know darn well that he has told Justin Verlander that he's up in the box too, and you're probably going to have to break that slider off a little bit quicker.
Chirinos tried to get quick with that transfer and ended up dropping the pitch. So that'll be a stolen base for Santana. Rangers are second in the American League in steals.
And in the Lone Star Series, we've seen they have really tried to take advantage of stealing bases with Chirinos back there. He's gotten a couple of them, but here recently it's been a little bit tougher.
That's now 78 steals for the Rangers, number 12 for Santana. Only the Kansas City Royals in the American League have more stolen bases. That's a strike, and the count goes full on Andrus.
Might be the only issue. The closer you get to the pitcher, the quicker that fastball looks too.
Tries to fight it off. It does foul. Another good battle between Verlander and Andrus. Got him. Verlander strikes out Andrus for the second time. They have both been long pitch at bat battles, and Verlander wins them both.
Rushed that fastball past him up in the zone. Good pitch.
Both times Andrus saw 7 pitches, and both times Verlander struck him out on a 3-2.
Wonder if that pitch before kind of set the tone for that last pitch, knowing that Andrus got beat on that foul ball to the right side. He's decided to just elevate and add the velocity to it to get him.
Now, there is nobody, I would say, in the game today that reads swings and reads batters better as the game progresses than Justin Verlander.
It's an excellent point. It's a lot of fun to watch, too, if you're sitting at home. Just watch how guys swing at some of the pitches and then try and recognize what the next pitch might be and how he adjusts to that swing. I agree with you.
And the numbers kind of prove it out, too, especially this season as he's ahead of Gallo 0-1. Now 0-2. First time through the lineup is when the hitters have the best chance against Verlander, 700 OPS on the season first time through. The second time through it drops all the way down to 527.
And that egregious shift being played against Joey Gallo that we've seen in years. The Astros, most in Major League Baseball.
And if you continue on with Verlander, third time through the lineup, it's 559 with the OPS, and he has 38 strikeouts to just 3 walks, facing a lineup for the third time. So he's a guy that has allowed a few home runs this season, but once he sees the first at bat or two, especially the first time through the lineup, he really buckles down. He struck out Gallo the first time, and he and Chirinos having trouble connecting on what pitch they want to throw. JV knows exactly what he wants to throw.
Yeah, that's what you feel like tonight. He definitely does. But it's good that Chirinos is able to go out there and have that conversation with Justin, too, and say, hey, I'm seeing one thing. What are you seeing, or what do you feel most comfortable with? Compare some notes, talk about it, nail down maybe this pitch and the next pitch so that Chirinos doesn't have to put any signs down.
Strike 3 called, top of the zone, 96 miles an hour. That is 7 strikeouts for Verlander through 3 innings. Hometown Moment is presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield. We take you back to a message 50 years ago at this moment, according to Sean Foreman. Mission Control sharing Astros scores on with the Apollo 11 and kind of soak it all in. They kind of went through some details of how the Astros won that game.
They really did. I think this is awesome just in the sense that you fire a couple of guys into space on a rocket, and you want to give them a little bit of normalcy, and these guys love the game of baseball, so give them some updates.
Love it.
It's awesome.
Michael Collins responding that the roof seems to have helped. We celebrate the 50-year anniversary of the Eagle landing, the Apollo 11 Eagle landing on the moon 50 years ago tomorrow. Here's Jose Altuve, who popped a single into shallow left field down the line his first time up. Astros have 3 hits so far in this game, a walk and a hit batter. They've had some traffic against Mike Minor, but the only run that has scored was a solo home run by Yuli Gurriel. It's 2-1. Astros have approval through Major League Baseball to wear the hats commemorating the Apollo 11 mission on Monday, part of the Astros celebration here at Minute Maid Park.
Those hats are good-looking hats, too. That mission patch on the front, it's beautiful.
That ball's driven deep to left center field. Altuve up on the train tracks. Train number 27 has just left Union Station. Astros lead it 2-0. Number 13 on the season for Altuve. Here's Bregman. Alex pops one into shallow left field towards the stands. Long run Andrews, and Chu also over there.
Altuve made a little bit of a minor adjustment with that leg kick in his swing, and he has been on time racking up some hits in Arlington, but see how the weight is a little more center. Before with that leg kick, he was really getting on the backside and kind of rocking back and rocking forward. Now kind of staying a little more center with the gravity. He gets that foot down, and the barrel is firing through the baseball nicely, but it's about timing and rhythm for Altuve. And man, a lot of power for a little guy.
Woo. That one well up there on the tracks, just below the World Series banner. Bregman high fly ball, deep left field, back-to-back jacks. Bregman follows Altuve. Alex with his 26th home run of the year. And the Astros now lead it 3-0.
If there ever was a swing built for Minute Maid Park, Alex Bregman has perfected it.
He knows how to find the Crawford boxes, that's for sure. Astros going back-to-back. Bregman following Altuve. A little bit new addition there with his normal routine. Is that something I missed from the last road trip?
We had a different camera angle in Anaheim, so we...
Oh! Triple it up! Are you kidding me? Upper tank! Air Jordan goes deep. Back-to-back-to-back, led by Altuve, followed by Bregman, and the big man makes it 3 in a row. How about Altuve and Bregman being the first two to greet him coming into the dugout?
Big man knows the moment. He wanted in on the action. Air Jordan. Tell you what, if you're Mike Minor, you're not done yet.
Now you're dealing with a guy who's got a dozen home runs in his last 20 games, including one his last time up. Astros crowd is buzzing. A lot of the fans here in this nearly sellout Friday night crowd, might be a sellout, are standing right now.
Kind of like the hairs on my arm right now.
8 pitches, 3 home runs. Yuli going for his share. It's 1-1. Look at all those fans behind Yuli, all standing. They did not want to sit down after what they've witnessed this inning. And it's 1-2. Jordan did not wait very long before he punished that baseball into the upper deck in right field. Yuli fly ball to left. This one's not going to be deep enough. Fans got excited thinking they were going to see the quadruple home run, but
Alex Bregman got a hanging slider. And again, that swing is perfect for Minute Maid Park. Elevate it and sneak it into that Crawford box, but still hit pretty well. High launch angle. And then the big one from the big man. Oh my goodness, that is just too much of the plate to give up to Jordan. And when he decides to unleash, it's amazing how quickly for a big man, he can get the barrel through the zone, isn't it?
There's a line drive caught by Chu. That was hit hard by Chirinos, but didn't have the launch angle necessary to add to the fireworks this inning.
Yeah, let's check out Jordan again. That is such a violent, malevolent swing from a massive human being. Jordan's ball into the upper deck, estimated 474 feet.
Woo!
That was only a 24-degree launch angle. That's relatively low, but that ball came off the bat at 112.2 miles an hour.
My goodness. 474
on a line.
That sounds like one of the longest we've seen the last 5 years. I know George's was in the 480 range in Minnesota.
Man, oh man.
Man. Astros celebrating a landing on the moon by hitting 3 balls towards the moon.
They're going to request 5:30 a.m. flights more often.
Here's Jake
Jeez, all this talk about being tired.
Jake with a count of 3-0. 4 solo home runs tonight. 3 of them in succession to start this inning. Saw the note Brewers last June 20th. And Jake takes a strike on the 3-0 pitch. Altuve's 13th. Bregman is 26. Jordan his 10th. Jordan has 10 home runs in 27 games.
Wow, that backed up Dan Iasonia.
And he was like, all right, here's another ball.
Let's keep going.
I'm good.
You couldn't even think about what was going on, and then Jordan all of a sudden smashed that one.
Yeah, he interrupted your story on Bregman's celebration.
Oh my goodness.
Brings a smile to everybody's face.
Bregman. Well, good chance we'll have another chance to talk about his celebration.
So down goes Jake, but what an inning it was. Fireworks after the game, but some fireworks here in the third.
It's been a welcome back party for Todd Callis in the booth. 4-0 Astros. Community Bank is going to be talking about some high spin rates. Community Bank of Texas giving us some of these numbers. The spin rate on the four-seam fastball. Mike Minor and Justin Verlander in this ball game demonstrating what the fastball can do. Although the exit velo on Mike Minor is a little egregious tonight. Jeff Samardzija, Yu Darvish, and Garrett Cole, of course, on there with that four-seam fastball. And what that does, we've talked about it plenty on why that spin rate is important on the fastball, is because it doesn't allow the ball to react differently to gravity on this 50th anniversary of going to the moon. You know, if you create that much backspin on a baseball, it will give the illusion of staying up in the zone or planing out or flattening out like we talk about quite a bit, and that's deceptive to hitters. Because typically pitchers are pitching on an 11-inch, 12-inch mound, pitching downhill, so the trajectory of that baseball is on a downhill plane, and if you can create an illusion of it not coming down, that's why you'll see some of these hitters swing underneath, although anything that comes to Hunter Pence these days turns into a base hit.
Yeah. Hunter Pence all-star this year.
There's the four-seam release. He is behind the baseball and pulls straight down. That's that backspin. You'll also see a lot of infielders grab a four-seam grip throwing across the diamond because it will keep the ball in the air longer, so you get those nice long throws and they stay up. But when it's up at the top of the zone, it's tough for the hitter to judge where that pitch is going or if it's going to come down into the zone. That's why you see some guys lay off and then it flattens out, stays in the zone in the bottom portion, or as they swing at the pitch on the top, it doesn't come back into the zone and they swing underneath it.
Omar Mazara swinging and missing. Pence has his second hit. He's a leadoff base runner for the Rangers here in the fourth inning. And so far, it's been a pretty solid zone for Dan Iasonia, and he has given Justin the top part of that zone, which sometimes can be uncalled depending on the umpire.
Yeah, it's definitely worked out well for Justin having the top portion of that zone available.
And Verlander, as we have mentioned throughout the season, not afraid to challenge guys with the fastball, especially up in the zone. It has led to more home runs than Justin would like this year. Certainly the most he'll allow in his career, barring something unusual happening. His career high is 30. He's got 26 home runs allowed. But he's also picked up a lot of strikeouts up there and hasn't allowed many hits. And when you have that illusion that you talk about, you get a lot of swings underneath that fastball.
Because as a hitter, you're seeing the plane of the baseball. That's the trajectory the ball's coming at. That's what my brain is telling me when the fastball is coming in. It's coming down like this. The four-seam spin will create a little more of a flattening out of that because the ball won't drop as rapidly because of the backspin. So I'm anticipating this break. Pitch is coming in at this break. I'm going to pass underneath it because my brain and my hands can't adjust quick enough to the spin.
This ball is going to be out of play as Trinos gives it a look. And I don't think it's by accident that Minor, who's leading, and Justin, who's second, are also the top three in ERA.
Yep. No, I completely agree. They've done a great job of manipulating it throughout the zone. Minor does a very good job with his four-seamer inside and to left-handed hitters. Outside, he works both sides of the plate really well. But we all know in watching Astros baseball since Brent Strom has been a pitching coach, that elevated fastball does a great job of swing and miss, but it also does a good job of setting up the spin on the breaking balls and sliders to fool hitters and change their eye level.
Here's Minor looking on. He just went through something he hadn't done all year, as that was a check swing by Mazzara, 1-2. Minor had only allowed 2 home runs in 2 games this year. That was the most he had allowed in any of his starts. And then he allowed 3 home runs in the span of 8 pitches. So that high RPM has been working for him for the most part, but he got turned around last inning. Alvarez hitting the longest Astros home run in the StatCast era. The young 22-year-old designated hitter put one out at 474 feet on a line. Mazzara goes down swinging, runner on base, so he can't try and advance. That strikeout number 8 for Verlander. 8 of the 10 outs tonight via the strikeout.
That's a little more of the traditional curveball. He just threw it extremely hard and created a violent snap down out of the zone, and Mazzara couldn't hold up. Tried to go out and get it.
Verlander facing the Rangers in back-to-back starts, already with more strikeouts against Texas tonight than he had in 6 innings in that start in Arlington. Misses to Odor, down and in. In the air to center field. Jake on the move, still on the move, all the way to the warning track. Odor got into that one. But Jake tracks it down for out number 2.
That's why Jake Marisnick is in the outfield behind Justin Verlander. Gives up a lot of fly ball outs, but you go ahead and challenge center field here at Minute Maid Park, especially with Jake out there. Good chance he'll run it down.
Verlander, who picks up a lot of strikeouts up in the zone, gets a lot of fly ball outs, and as you can see, Jake is in the top 10 despite not being an everyday player. Outs above average, a cumulative number, and Jake's still 7th in that category.
Did you happen to see the game the other day when George laid out, made a diving play down the right field line? Turned out to be a 5-star catch, so now both he and Jake have 2 5-star catches on the season.
Yeah, that was back-to-back, right? Springer made a great catch, and then Marisnick made a great catch. So George is with a 5-star?
Yeah.
What did Jake get? Do you remember? It wasn't a 5-star.
It was closer to, no, they.
I know.
Again, I looked at it and it was way too high for what Jake actually did on the play.
Way too low, you mean?
Or they said it was a 90% catch probability, I think.
So he got like a 2-star or 1-star.
Yeah,
Jake gets ripped off for some reason.
Maybe they're adjusting to his talent level, and that's the unfortunate part of it.
So George with a 5-star catch. Good for him. George in right field. He's made some plays.
Yeah, they're starting with the Cupid shuffle out there, but this on a line, George got a great jump and then dove after it and made a phenomenal play. And you got to give a lot of credit to the way the Astros align their outfield, allowing these guys to anticipate and get those jumps to make the 5-star plays. But I think that one was a little more in a line, so it made it a little bit tougher, whereas the one Shohei Ohtani hit to center field was a little more elevated.
Gotcha. George with 2 5-star catches, both coming in right field. Asdrubal Cabrera with a 3-1 count. He doubled on the warning track, one hop the wall in the left field his last time up. And he's on base with a walk. So Verlander issues his first walk of the night. Cabrera on base for the 2nd time. 2 on with 2 outs. Justin will face Geoff Mathis. Mathis struck out looking on a fastball up his last time. 5 hits for the Rangers. First walk issued by Verlander. He has had to work out of the stretch quite frequently tonight. a strike at 97. Looking around, I think it might be a sellout tonight.
I agree with you.
Fans are streaming into Minute Maid Park to start this series. Beautiful view, too, out beyond left field. Good to have the Astros back home for the first time since the All-Star break. Fans love themselves some Houston Astros baseball. There's a cool view, too.
Yeah, especially the way they've been playing at home. 33-14 here at Minute Maid Park. It's been a lot of fun to watch. Kind of helps starting out a homestand too with this guy on the mound.
Yeah. That's a good tone setter right there. Last couple of seasons, the Astros have been a better road team than at home, but this year, really getting the job done at home, and especially within the division. Mathis does not chase that slider. It's 1-2. Astros 12-1 against the AL West at home this year. Their only loss, a 5-4 loss to the Angels on that Friday right before the All-Star break. Rangers have done a pretty good job putting some pitches on Verlander tonight. We mentioned the traffic. 19 pitches an inning so far is the average, as he has thrown 76 pitches, and we're in the fourth. Mathis doesn't chase up, and the count goes full.
Mathis has seen a lot of Justin Verlander, and he's battling. Laid off some good sliders away, laid off the fastball up.
Swing and a foul tip caught by Chirino. Strikeout number 9 for Verlander. Strands 2 more. Astros lead at 4-0. If you get, they will come to Movie Day, that is. The Astros will close out their series against the A's with a day game on Wednesday, followed by Movie Day, presented by Securian Financial. Stay after the game to enjoy a baseball classic on the big screen, El Grande. You can even watch from the field with a special Movie Day package. To learn more or to get your tickets, visit astros.com/movie. On we go to the bottom of the fourth. Tony Kemp, the batter. And swings the first pitch and grounds one to Danny Santana. And he is out number 1. Santana playing all over for the Rangers, making his 13th start at first base as Mike Minor works into his 4th inning. Minor has allowed 4 runs to the Astros in back-to-back starts. Pitched against them 6 days ago in Arlington, went 5 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs. That was on 1 home run by Alex Bregman. Today, all the runs scoring on home runs. Miles Straw has one of the 2 non-home run hits today for the Astros. A single into center field his last time up. Straw up to 281 with that base hit, and we were speculating about his future coming up with the decisions to be made with Carlos Correa and Aledmys Diaz to come off the IL. I think no matter what happens with the decision, Straw has proven his worth to this team, and he's a guy that's going to make an impact one way or the other whether it's later on this season or if he stays on the roster or even in the postseason.
Yeah, we've seen it so many times with different ball clubs. It was Derek Fisher a couple of years ago, who's really that speed guy that is able to come in there, pinch run, steal a bag, or pinch run at second base and score on any base hit. And this guy right here, with the at-bats he's put together, the versatility and his ability to steal the base and score on anything, makes him highly appealing in that playoff type situation.
You can have one more guy on the bench than you would need during the regular season with that 5-game series in the ALDS and an off day in between. A couple of off days.
Power Player is brought to you by TXU Energy. This includes tonight with Alex Bregman going deep. The 12 combined home runs this season for Alex Bregman and George Springer against the Texas Rangers. They do a lot of damage, but they love doing damage against that in-state rival, Texas.
George, big swing, fouls one back. Springer, batting for the 3rd time, has been hit by a pitch and also bounced into a fielder's choice. Up the middle, glove by Minor on one hop. Springer will toss the bat aside in frustration. A 1-2-3 inning for Minor. That's the first for either side. Astros leading the Rangers 4-0 as we head into the 5th inning. Justin Verlander working with a 4-run cushion. So far has allowed a hit in every inning. Rangers with a total of 5 base hits so far against Verlander and a walk. He has struck out 9 through 4. And he'll go to work against the top of the order for the 3rd time. There's Yordan Alvarez, who set a StatCast era record with a 474-foot bomb his last time up. I think we see 500 sometime this year.
Yeah, I was going to say we may actually make that comment again in the near future with the way he swings the bat.
He came into this game, and again, he's still early in his career, but he came into this game 6th in all of baseball in average exit velocity, and that number will go up since he's only connected on 1 pitch so far tonight. And he hit it 112.2. Here's Chu taking a strike. Chu has flied out to right and lined out to shortstop.
StatCast AI powered by AWS shows the shift is on. Again, these are the last 100 baseballs put in play by Shin-Soo Choo at less than 200 feet. Kind of that vicinity where Jose Altuve is hanging out there in shallow right.
Inside 1-2. Former Astro Marwin Gonzalez doing Houston a favor tonight, hitting a 2-run home run to give the Twins a 3-2 lead over the A's as they play in Minnesota. Game in the 4th inning. On the ground, into the shift. Altuve, a long run, backhand play, safe. Just barely. Chu able to beat it out. Great try by Altuve.
When you start that deep in the shift and you go to your right, as Altuve is right here, he gets further away from first base. And it puts a lot of stress on that throw coming back to first. He tried to long hop it, which was a pretty good pick by Yuli, but Chu still moves pretty good, enabling himself to beat out that base hit.
Verlander will go back to work out of the stretch, facing Danny Santana, who has 2 of the 6 hits tonight. Verlander has only pitched out of the windup to the opening hitters in this game. Here's a chopper towards short. Straw with a quick glove makes the tag and a throw, not quite in time. Pretty good instincts for a guy that hasn't played a lot of infield. Almost able to turn the double play.
Yeah, it was very good. With that ball not being hit very hard, Miles Straw charging in is able with his speed to make the catch and chase down Chu to get that tag out. Good play. Yeah, those instincts are more from the outfield for Miles Straw. Moving to the infield, you start to create a little bit different idea of how the baseball's moving and what plays you can make, but he's done a pretty good job in making the adjustment.
Here's Elvis Andrus. Andrus and Verlander have gone back-to-back for 14 pitches worth. Now he swings at the first pitch. Straw, a little double clutch to Altuve. He double clutches and the throw goes into the stands. So not the cleanest of turn on either side for the Astros infield. And instead of a double play, Andrus will be on second on the fielder's choice in the error.
Man, that was a nice one right there. Yep, it was on the exchange. And then Altuve having issues with that baseball. It might be a good thing it bounced in the stands. Get rid of that thing.
Verlander thought he might be out of the inning. Instead, it's prolonged, and he'll face Joey Gallo on the throwing error by Altuve, allowing Andrus to go to second.
And I'm not trying to throw Miles Straw underneath the bus right here, but if you have an Ledmus Diaz, if you have a Carlos Correa, when those guys get back, that double play's turned. I guess I did.
No, you know what? It's a fact. It is a fact, and we praise Straw for the previous play. Did a nice job with that play. And he's still learning the position at the major league level. 10th start at shortstop, had about 25 at the minor league level. And it's not like he worked out there this spring. He's learning as the season progresses.
Yeah, that is extremely tough to do.
Gallo with a count of 1-1.
And Altuve forcing that throw, getting that error by bouncing it past Yuli into the stands. He's had a rough stretch of ball games making some errors.
And Altuve wears errors like nobody else. You can always tell when Altuve's frustrated with himself defensively.
I was to say, we just looked out there and he had his glove off his glove hand, hand on his hip, probably internally airing himself out. He didn't make an error on the cut on that beard, though. It was immaculate.
They have a barber on the flight. Why did he have time for
yeah,
that?
Seriously, right? Hey, if it's that important, you'll make time for it, TK.
Better. It's always good to look good. As Gallo swings through a fastball, it's 1-2.
Ooh,
styling.
yeah, that's tight.
And he gets to lead off next inning.
There's a shocker.
Mentioned Justin had a pretty high pitch count through 4. One of the problems with not being able to turn that double play is he had a few more pitches here as he's about to make his 89th pitch of this game. Verlander would like to finish off Joey Gallo here if he can with 2 strikes and 2 outs. And misses down and in, 2-2. Gallo has struck out twice, once swinging, once looking. One thing Gallo's done better this year is he's gotten down in counts and not expanded the zone as much as he has in the past. Counts 3-2.
Yeah, Joey Gallo has gone through a major overhaul in that swing. Cut down on that leg kick, keeping the head still.
Verlander gets him at 97. 10 strikeouts tonight for JV. That is his 4th double-digit strikeout game. We head to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Astros leading 4-0. Altuve will lead things off here in the 5th inning. Jose started things off in the 3rd with a home run onto the train tracks in left center field. His 13th home run. And triggered back-to-back home runs against Mike Minor. As he takes a big hack and no contact at the changeup. All 4 runs scoring on home runs tonight for Houston. 6 hits overall. Rangers also with 6 hits. Mike Minor in April, combined with 1 start in March, had 40 2/3 innings of work and allowed 5 home runs combined in those 6 starts. May was even better in terms of home runs allowed. Just 3 home runs allowed by Minor in 6 starts in the month of May. 4 in the month of June. 1 in his previous 2 starts in July. So he's not a guy that's given up a lot of home runs until tonight. The Astros have tagged him 4 times. Altuve into center field, retired for the first time as Gallo makes the play.
The game summary is driven by the DeMontron Auto Group. Early home run from Yuli Gurriel, getting the Astros on the board, and then it was bombs away. Altuve setting the tone with that long bomb to left field, backed up by Alex Bregman. Majestic drive into the Crawford boxes, and then it was the big one. Air Jordan unleashing the longest Astro home run in the StatCast era at 474 feet. Swings like that and majestic shots like that will make fans of everybody in the ballpark, including your teammates.
There he is. He'll bat next after Bregman made his debut on June the 9th, a month and 10 days ago. And already has 10 home runs in that span. Now, what he's doing is not easy. He's coming into a lineup filled with superstars and all-stars, and he's become a force within that lineup.
It's crazy, isn't it? You've got a 3-4 hitter rehabbing in AAA now that's coming back. Then what?
Yeah, this lineup is going to get really, really thick when Carlos Correa comes back. It's already very strong. And you add a Correa to the mix. Bregman pops one high in the air on the infield. Odor, the second baseman, under. 2 away.
Trying to think about what to say, but I think that line drive halfway up the second deck pretty much speaks for itself. 10th longest home run in the major leagues this season at 474 feet.
Longest Astros home run since the StatCast era began 4 seasons ago. 2015, the first year of StatCast. So this is 4 years ago, but the 5th season playing with StatCast numbers. As he takes a strike. Minor decided not to throw him a fastball in the first pitch. Probably a good idea.
Yeah, real good idea. Quick study.
He tried to get him to chase, and that's the thing we noticed when we saw Jordan this spring, was his ability not to leave the zone.
Yeah, he's seen some sliders down that he's gotten a little aggressive with, kind of bending over the waist, but if he keeps his posture, and there it is. It's a good pitch by Mike Minor. Back to that home run swing on a match from Supermo. That's where you want to hit it. Right off that barrel. Yeah, that was a good illustration of where you want to make contact.
He fouls one away. It's fun to watch the reaction of his teammates, because maybe with the exception of George Springer, the rest of them were like, that's something we can't do.
Yeah. And you have to laugh.
Right.
Because it's amazing how well he does it.
That's a good pitch. Strikeout, and Minor all of a sudden is rolling. He's recorded 9 straight outs since that Jordan home run. It is time to name that Astro, brought to you by Nissan. Here are tonight's clues. 7th Heaven. I love the 80s. Met Regret. Who am I? Send your guesses to @ATT Sportsnet SW. Beautiful aerial view of downtown Houston, Texas, as the Astros take on the Rangers here. Game number 15 of the Lone Star Series. The Astros leading 8-6 and leading tonight 4-0. Hunter Pence will lead things off. Pence has been on base a couple of times tonight with a couple of singles. Pence has 2 hits. Danny Santana has 2 hits. They have 4 of the 6 Rangers hits as Hunter fouls one back. What a story for Hunter Pence in 2019, a guy who had to prove his worth this offseason by playing Winter League baseball and ended up being an American League All-Star as the fans voted him on as the starting DH. Right groin injury kept him from playing in that game, but he was still in Cleveland for all the festivities.
Hunter Pence can be a festivity all in himself. He was a fun teammate to be around when I was with the Astros. Endeared himself to a lot of fans here in Houston with the way he played, that energy and that excitement.
He's been one of the feel-good stories of the year, even though he's on the Astros rival, a former Astro who has resurrected his career this season. Down in the count here to Verlander 1-2.
Made some swing adjustments when he went down and played winter ball.
Basically deconstructed his swing and built it back.
Good for him. I mean, that's a lot of credit to the athlete being humble and going out there and trying to make the adjustment to stay in the game, and it's paid off.
And the truth of the matter is, you know, there is a movement, whether it's stated or not, that if you're an older veteran player and you're looking for a job, it's a little tougher now than maybe it was 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, you just can't call up and say, hey, look at my numbers in the past and get a guaranteed contract. They want to look at projections now, and they want you to earn your way onto some of these rosters.
Verlander with a count of 2-2. JV's up to 96 pitches. And with 10 strikeouts so far and 6 hits allowed and a walk, even though Verlander can carry a heavy workload, you'd think this could be his last inning here in the 6th. Three and 2 the count. Verlander's thrown as many as 114 pitches this season. It usually stays around that 100 to 110 range. In the air, right center field. George Springer ambles to his right, now comes in to make the play. Pence retired for the first out.
Yeah, that's a big out, especially to your point, TK. You want to see Justin Verlander get through this inning because tomorrow, with being TBA, you don't know what's going to happen, so you want to kind of push guys back in the bullpen, not abuse them on what might be a bullpen day tomorrow.
Yeah, Verlander has a lot of respect throughout all of baseball with what he has done at his age. Michelle, I know Chris Woodward, the Rangers manager, one of those who admires what the Astros right-handers accomplished.
I was talking to him earlier today before the game, and he said that what he thinks separates Justin Verlander from other pitchers in the league, he said that he literally uses Verlander as an example to his guys only because he's constantly pushing himself to get better. He said he moves the needle despite the impressive career that he's already had. He said he admires how he just wants to adjust and reinvent himself. And he actually said that he wishes he had an entire roster full of Justin Verlanders.
That wouldn't be too shabby.
No.
Yeah, I'd take that.
He said he'd win a World Series if he had a roster full of them.
Yeah, when you have 25 Hall of Famers, that's a good thing. This guy is destined to be a Hall of Famer, even though he's got plenty left in the tank at age 36. Ahead of the count, 0-2 on Mazzara. And Nomar strikes out for the 3rd consecutive time. Give JV 11 strikeouts on the game. 2 away in the 6th. He is in some elite company right now in terms of walks and hits divided by innings pitched.
These numbers are a joke. I mean, everybody on this board right now is a joke. That's unbelievable. I mean, it's one thing to be sub-1 with the walks and hits per inning pitched, but to be that far below and in comparison, I mean, 68 and 69 for Bob Gibson, those are legendary years, and you've got these guys putting up numbers like that. Wow.
And the mound had to be lowered after some of those crazy numbers. McNally and Gibson in 68. Rougned Odor fouls one back. It's 0-1. Well, tonight is a little bit of an aberration in terms of what JV has done throughout the season. Normally he's a guy that will have more innings pitched than hits allowed. Tonight it's been 6 innings, 6 hits, or 5 2/3 innings, 6 hits, and there's a ball deep to left center field, and that's gone. Over the wall in left center for a home run by Rougned Odor. He flied out deep to center field his last time, and this time he clears the wall over the 404 side. Verlander nearly with back-to-back starts without allowing a home run, but JV's allowed a home run now in 18 of his 21 starts.
Solo variety's all right.
It's certainly been the trend since Verlander has been an Astro, as he allows home runs, but they've been mostly solo home runs.
That's really been the incredible thing with the hits that Justin has give up. A third of them have been home runs.
Yeah, that is a very high percentage. No one even close in the major leagues. There is the percentage of hits that are home runs, and it's a 10% cushion, almost 9% to be exact, over the next closest. It speaks to two things. He's given up a lot of home runs. He's also not allowed very many hits. This guy's given him some issues. Cabrera's been on base a couple of times with a double and a walk tonight.
Well, how about that's the 45th earned run of the season that Justin has given up.
Yep.
And the 27th home run of the season.
Yeah, the high percentage of his runs allowed. 32 of 46 runs allowed. Pretty much 70% of the runs allowed are on home runs this year. Highest of his career, highest in the major league. Cabrera down to the count 1-2. JV trying to finish strong. This is down and in, 2-2.
You know, back to Michelle's point and talking to Chris Woodward on the other side, we've talked about it. Justin Verlander's numbers right now are Hall of Fame numbers.
Oh, yeah.
He's not settling for that. He's continuing to compete and get better, get stronger, and put even bigger numbers up.
That ball's hit high and deep to right field. Springer all the way back. He's at the track. He'll jump, and no, he can't make the play into the first row. Back-to-back solo home runs by the Rangers. And all of a sudden, it's a 4-2 game as Cabrera hits his 12th of the year.
That was a slider that came back over the plate and caught way too much of it. I, like Justin Verlander, was hoping that it was hit a little bit too high and would come down in the glove of George Springer, but see center cut at 88. And these are probably the ones that frustrate Justin Verlander the most, are the ones that get into that first and second row of some of these ballparks.
Now facing Geoff Mathis, who he has struck out twice tonight. Pitch fooled Chirinos, called strike.
Estimated distance on the home run for Cabrera is 364.
Odor and Cabrera with 2 outs in what is Verlander's final inning have both hit solo home runs. JV so close to 6 shutout innings. Instead, he's allowed back-to-back home runs 7 times this year. The Rangers have gone back-to-back. .61 home runs allowed by Verlander as an Astro, and 48 of them have been solo home runs. Now trying to finish off Geoff Mathis. Verlander sitting at 111 pitches. That is his second highest total of the season. Matches a start he made against the Yankees on April 8th. June 1st start in Oakland threw 114, his highest of the season. He'll have to make 113th pitch coming up. So this will be the last batter for Verlander. Shin-Soo Choo due up next, and Will Harris is not even throwing any more pitches. He's ready to go. StatCast has a new toy that we've been checking out where you see how many stadiums a home run would have been hit. Of the 30 stadiums, that Cabrera fly ball to right would have been a home run in 4 stadiums, including Minute Maid Park. Well, Verlander getting his money's worth tonight. He has had to battle Mathis. He's had to battle Elvis Andrus. He's been able to pick up 4 strikeouts against those 2 combined, but haven't necessarily been low pitch count ABs. Justin now will make his 115th pitch, his highest total of the year. Astros not working with any off days during this homestand, so Verlander will start twice during this homestand. He will start the homestand and he will finish it against the Oakland A's next Wednesday afternoon. And he finishes this inning with a strikeout. Verlander strikes out a dozen. 6 innings of 2-run baseball. Astros lead 4-2. Time to name that Astro, brought to you by Nissan. We gave you these clues: Seventh Heaven, I Love the 80s, and Met Regret. Who am I? Roger Clemens, the Rocket. More Cy Young awards than any other pitcher in Major League Baseball history. AL Cy Young MVP and All-Star Game MVP. Drafted by the Mets, didn't sign, attended the University of Texas. On we go to the bottom of the 6th. Yuli Gurriel, first pitch swinging and missing. Yuli has a home run tonight. Also has flied out to left. All the runs tonight on solo home runs. Astros with 4 of them. The Rangers with 2.
Eerily reminiscent to a ball game back in Arlington where they had 9 home runs combined between both teams in one ball game.
Yuli was down on the count 0-2 back in the 2nd inning. Ended up hitting a 1-2 pitch out to left. This time Minor makes quick work of him, as Mike Minor has now sent down 10 in a row and has 6 strikeouts on the night. He has gotten better as the night has progressed.
That was a high spin fastball. Good pitch. Fastball running up and away from Yuli. The home run he hit out on that 1-2 count was a slider.
Here's Robinson Chirinos. He has walked and then lined out to left field his last time up. Mentioned Verlander ended up throwing his highest pitch total of the season through 6 innings. His night will be done. Minor's pitch count in a little better order, but now sitting at 92 pitches. That ball's hit hard. Good back-to-back ABs by Robinson Chirinos. He saw something he liked in that first plate appearance when he walked, and he's hit the ball hard twice since.
This week on Astros Bases Loaded, the Astros revealed their baseball pet peeves. An interview with Joe Smith, and Julia takes A.J. Hinch on the tour of the Rangers' new ballpark. All that and more this week on Astros Bases Loaded, only on AT&T Sportsnet. Yeah, for me with Robinson Chirinos, it was laying off the fastball up. And that AB previous, with that first AB, did a good job of laying off the pitches up. worked himself a walk, and there the pitch before he got the base hit was a pitch up out of the zone that he took.
Now Jake bats with 1 on and 1 out. You mention it all the time. It's always interesting when you watch a player take on his former team the next season. And Chirinos, who lives in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, truly believed he was going to be a Ranger in 2019. So I think these games mean a little bit more to Robinson than the average opponent.
Yeah, revenge ABs are fun. But also at the same time is heads up Tony. Making him dance. He's got the moves.
Yeah, he does.
Look at a great visual of it. Hey! But I would imagine as much as Robinson wanted to be a part of the Texas Rangers, he's very happy with where he's at.
Oh, no doubt. What a situation for Robinson to move into here with an Astros team. 101 wins, a world championship, and 103 wins, and catch guys like Justin Verlander, Garrett Cole every 5 days. Much as he appreciated his time in Texas, what an opportunity for him here. Resnick goes down for the 3rd time tonight. He has struggled in his career against Minor. 0 for 3 tonight, 2 for 15 in his career. And there's 2 away in the 6th. 9 of those 15 outs have been strikeouts for Jake against the lefty Minor. Oh, Will's going to be the pitcher in the 7th inning. He'll face the top of the order for the Rangers in the 7th. Here's Tony Kemp. Kemp has popped up and grounded out both times to the first baseman. This one a broken bat, slowly hit towards Odor. He'll flip it to short for the force out. And that'll do it for the Astros. We head to the 7th, 4-2.
Justin Verlander's night was spectacular, opening up this homestand for the Houston Astros. Getting those 12 strikeouts in a variety of ways. You're seeing the slider early on, and then he got back on the heater, rushing it up there at 97 miles an hour. That is usually a real issue for the Rangers, hitting 224 against that 95-plus fastball elevated in the zone. Then how about the little more traditional with that curveball in there? An excellent evening for JV, even though he's given up those 2 earned runs on solo home runs. Kind of frustrating when you read that line score because that walk to strikeout ratio is fantastic, and he did an excellent job regardless of those 2 swings.
Yeah, he really did. Frustrating in that he was so close to 6 shutout innings tonight, and Will Harris will take over for the Astros in this 4-2 game in the 7th.
Yeah, it's frustrating to just watch JV. Cole, that last game out in Arlington, pitched well, struck out double digits, and gave up 3 home runs, but giving it off to the bullpen right now with a lead is usually a pretty good thing. Will Harris, 1.82 ERA on the season.
He'll face the top of the order for the Rangers. Shin-Soo Choo, Danny Santana, and Elvis Andrus. Choo hits one into the shift. Altuve has to go through his legs under his glove. It looked like Jose was right there for the play, and Choo reaches to start the 7th.
Seen Altuve playing this deep shift have some issues with the hops off the grass. Sometimes it'll hit the lip, sometimes it'll bounce off that grass, but it's just not going to react the same. He gets that in between hop and it doesn't come up to where he thinks it's going to be.
It'll be the 2nd error charged to the Astros, both against Altuve in this game. A throwing error, now a fielding error. Here's Danny Santana slicing a foul the other way.
You can slump as an infielder and an outfielder for that sake. And it really feels like when you're uncomfortable or you're starting to question your ability a little bit, that baseball can find you at the worst moments. And it's finding Altuve right now. It's been a rough stretch defensively.
You'd love another opportunity here to try and turn 2. Instead, Santana sends one the other way in the left field for a base hit. And the Rangers have the tying runners on here with nobody out in the 7th inning. Santana 3 for 4 tonight. Continues his torrid stretch of hitting.
Yeah, he just laid that bat out there and redirected it.
17 for 30 during his 7-game hitting streak. Elvis Andrus 0 for 3 tonight. Struck out twice and grounded a ball to short his last time up. Could have been a double play. Instead, an error was involved, and Andrus ended up in second. Around the bunt and bunts one foul. Elvis Andrus is doing Elvis Andrus things, which is normally very good. Normally a guy who's above 300, 37 hits in June. He's probably not thinking bunt here, but he has been struggling his last 11 games. Seen that batting average drop 15 points during an 8 for 44 stretch. Bregman just in front of even with the bag at third. Now Andrus takes a strike. It's 0-2. Both runners try to advance. The throw to third, and Chu is going to be safe. Pitch in the dirt, allowing Chu to get to third and Santana to second.
Torino's doing the best he can. That ball popped up and jarred the face mask. He actually recovered pretty quickly, but lost track of the runners. It's a tough position to be in because initially when he picks up the baseball, you say it looks like he might have had a shot at second base. But Santana runs so well, he might have had a pretty good enough jump to be able to beat that throw down to second. Tried at third, but to no avail.
Astros keep the infield back with a 2-run lead and nobody out. Ball that is right off the front of the Astros dugout. That was a bullet.
Man, oh man.
Ground ball right side. Yuli charges. He will make the play to first. The run will score. It's now a 1-run game. Chu, who reached on an error, crosses the plate. It's 4-3.
Everybody moving up 90 feet makes this a 1-run game. Really made the right choice. It would have been a tough play if he'd have decided to come home, even though it wasn't hit hard and he was charging in on that short hop. Just make sure of the sure out. That'll bring the infield in against Joey Gallo. Can't be fun.
No, infield in, 3 on the right side against Gallo. He pops one foul. Bregman gives it a look, but it will be a few rows deep. For a guy like Andrus, who's been struggling, that was a really productive at bat for him to advance the runner to third and just keep the ball in play. Down 2 strikes to drive in the run.
Yeah, it is a little bit of relief when you are struggling to be able to have a positive even though you're making an out.
Upstairs to Gallo, 1-1. Three of the 12 strikeouts for Verlander tonight against Joey Gallo. That's a strike. Harris ahead 1-2.
The MLB Ballpark app will complete your next visit to Minute Maid Park. Buy and manage game tickets, redeem special check-in offers, access exclusive content, and much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today.
Two and two the count. Astros led this game 4-0. Rangers with two-out home runs last inning. And this inning, a hit and an error getting things started for the Rangers. We have ourselves a one-run game. Swing and a miss. Big strikeout for Will Harris. Keeps the runner on third base now with two away.
Good cut fastball down and in. That is a natural cut to that pitch for Will Harris. Wanted it down and away, but it works out down and in.
Now Will face Hunter Pence. Pence 2 for 3 tonight. Takes a pitch down. Thinking about how the Astros might try and work through this game. Keep in mind Ryan Pressly has worked back-to-back outings. Pressly threw 20 pitches in the game on Wednesday night and then 18 more last night. AJ will usually check with his guys before the game, but he has not liked using his pitchers 3 games in a row, especially with that kind of pitch count. First things first, Will trying to get through the 7th in a 4-3 game. It's 2-0 to Hunter Pence. Swing and a miss at the breaking ball, 2-1.
Good snap on that curveball.
Pretty good take. Pence started to swing and check 3-1.
Well, first base open, 2 outs. Hunter Pence, an all-star, having a great year. Had some good ABs against Justin Verlander. Might explain why the breaking balls in hitters' counts are coming to Hunter Pence.
And ball 4, a little low. Pence draws a walk on base for the 3rd time tonight. And Harris will face Nomar Mazara with 2 on and 2 outs. Second walk allowed by Astros pitching tonight. Now Harris will face Nomar Mazara. He struck out 3 times against Verlander. Mazara still leading the Rangers in RBIs with 51. He is 3 for 30 in his last 8 games. Little tapper back to the mound. Will on one hop makes the play, and the Astros hold on to the lead. 7th inning stretch time at Minute Maid Park. It's 4-3 Houston. Houston Astros baseball on AT&T Sportsnet is presented by Volkswagen and the 7-seater Atlas SUV.
To reveal the results of our Chevy Stroh poll. What's the X factor this season? 55% of you think making an early trade would be that X factor for the Houston Astros. Picking up Carlos Correa will be like picking up a free agent when he becomes healthy. And when that trade hopefully happens, I'm sure a lot of fans at home are hoping it's a starting pitcher.
Yeah, the Astros have shown that as much as their pitching depth has been a factor the last couple of seasons, and A.J. Hinch, Jeff Luhnow more importantly, knows that you need somewhere between 10 and 15 starters a year just to be safe. This year that's been a little thin, some due to injury, some due to ineffectiveness. So the Astros have gone to openers on a couple of games in Anaheim, and tomorrow's a TBA for their starting pitcher. Miles Straw leads things off against Mike Minor, who is now in triple digits at 100 pitches. Rangers will have bullpen action going as we start the bottom of the 7th inning. Straw takes one away. It's 1-2. Minor.
Well, I was just going to say it's really interesting how the rotation has kind of unfolded a little bit, because I felt early on coming out of spring training about this time would have been a real opportunity for a guy like Corbin Martin.
Yep.
Or a Forrest Whitley to jump into that rotation and try and solidify things down the stretch. But with those guys going on the IL, obviously Corbin Martin with that surgery is going to be out for an extended amount of time. But Forrest Whitley, kind of a missed opportunity with him going on the IL of being here in the big leagues.
And Whitley struggling today in his outing, so it's been a difficult 2019 for the Forrest Whitley out of San Antonio, to say the least. Straw down in the count 0-2 has now worked the count full. Minor might be batter to batter here with Chris Woodward, knowing his pitch count is above 100, and George Springer looms on deck. Swing and a miss. Gets Straw with a changeup. And that is strikeout number 8 for Minor. Carlos Correa has been getting the job done for the Round Rock Express.
Yeah, they're looking to see him. I believe he has the day off today. He's going to start playing some 9-inning ball games, play back-to-back games, so he's working back into health. But it's good to see him swinging the bat, getting the average up to 500, the on-base percentage at 545. But it's just a matter of time before he becomes healthy enough to get back with this ball club, hopefully in that vicinity of that St. Louis trip.
Yeah, the good thing about Correa is there's kind of like a target date, because he is on the 60-day DL, which expires, 60-day IL, which expires a week from today. So that will be the St. Louis trip over the weekend, next road trip. Hopefully we'll see Carlos right around when that 60-day IL stint is up, as Springer is down in the count 0-2. Mike Minor, after those 3 consecutive home runs, has only allowed one other hitter to reach base. That was a single by Robinson Chirinos. So he's retired 13 of his last 14 batters he's faced since Altuve, Bregman, and Alvarez went back-to-back-to-back in the 3rd. And he gets Springer here. That's now 9 strikeouts for Minor, and 2 away in the 7th. Join us this Monday as the Astros and the A's will play, and make sure to get to the ballpark early, because 10,000 fans receive a Carlos Correa bobblehead presented by Goya. For tickets and info, visit astros.com/promotions. Here's Jose Altuve, 2 for 3 tonight. Chops the foul. We saw Josh James warming up in the Astros bullpen. We mentioned Presley has thrown in back-to-back nights 20 and 18 pitches, so more than likely AJ was going to go to a different arm in the 8th inning, and it looks like James will get the call in the 8th. So he takes one outside for a ball, 1-1. Well, Minor also approaching his season high in pitches. He's at 110. He has been over 110 3 times this year. 117 being his highest total. Actually 4 other times this year he's been at over 110. Strike, 2-2. Sellout crowd tonight. 7th sellout of the season at Minute Maid Park, 42,287.
Way to go, Astro fans. Got a lot of people watching at home too. That's awesome.
I got to live what Astros fans live normally in Astros After Dark broadcast. That was a lot of fun, even though the games weren't the greatest games.
Yeah, if you picked the right night, they were, but there were a couple there a little iffy.
Yeah, and there's definitely, you're up late. Especially when you hang in there for the post-game show. There's strike 3 called, and Tuve goes down for the final out. Minor ends up rolling here through the last 5 innings.
Well, Josh James in for the Astros right now, which is appropriate because our Shiner Box spotlight falls on both he and Rogelio Armenteros today. They absolutely came through on the road trip. They were asked to fill different roles, and together they threw 9 innings, allowed no runs on 3 hits, and struck out 9. And manager A.J. Hinch said that he actually thanked Armenteros in front of the entire team because of how important his outing was in Game 2 against the Angels. He said how tough it is being on 3 days rest, but that was huge for the bullpen because it impacts the pen even days later, TK.
Yeah, you're right about that, Michelle. It is, as one day leads to the other, especially during this stretch without any off days on the first road trip in this homestand, as Josh James takes over here in the 8th.
38th appearance on the season. He has 1 opening appearance on his season, but he has been very good with the fastball, slider, and changeup. Starts off Rougned Odor with one of those beautiful changeups, but the velocity's been very good for Josh James in the recent outings too, 97 to 101.
It'll be the bottom third of the order. Odor, Asdrubal Cabrera, and Geoff Mathis. Kind of interesting with a guy like Josh James. We've mentioned earlier how the Astros looking for some starters and have been hit by the injury bug and some inconsistent performances as well. But kind of like James with that big arm coming out of the bullpen, at least this season, as he strikes out Odor on 3 pitches.
Yeah, he is one of the more interesting guys out of that bullpen because he can be effective being that bridge guy to get to the back end of the bullpen. But if a guy like Presley needs a night off, how about the fact that you can move Josh James into that situation where he can be that setup guy?
Absolutely, and he can come out there and throw the ball by anybody when he's on with his pitches and he's able to dot it up.
And if it wasn't for a quad injury, the idea was to have him as a 5th starter in the rotation to start the season.
Coming on Jake, and he'll have to pull up and field this one on a hop, as Asdrubal Cabrera has been on base all 4 times tonight. Single, double, home run, and a walk. Watch the Astros on the go all season long. Download the AT&T Sportsnet app from iTunes or Google Play, or go to attsportsnet.com to stream from your computer. Log in with your cable account and you're all set. Available to cable accounts with AT&T Sportsnet in their subscription, subject to blackouts and territorial restrictions. Texas will send up a pinch hitter, as Ronald Guzman will get a chance to hit here for Geoff Mathis. See Guzman's career numbers as a pinch hitter facing Josh James here. This is not to say that James will not be a starter at some point. But right now, the Astros like what they see out of him out of the bullpen. And at this point of the season, as we approach the month of August, it's kind of tough to get a guy lengthened out who's been in the bullpen all year.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, because it would be extremely nice to get McHugh, Josh James, give these guys an opportunity in that rotation, but they have been, McHugh's been on the IL. Josh James has really turned into a valuable resource in the bullpen, going an inning, 2 innings. To ask them to stretch it out and throw 75 plus and try and get through 5 innings, that would be a lot to ask, not being stretched out properly.
James going upstairs with a fastball to get Guzman to an 0-2 count. I wonder if they can continue to try and climb the ladder here against Ronald. They do, but he doesn't chase. Just up out of the zone a little bit. It's 1-2. Swing and a foul tip caught by Chirinos. 2 strikeouts in the inning. That is 15 strikeouts for Astros pitching tonight.
Josh James ramping things up here in this 8th inning, setting things up for the elevated fastball. That's a tough pinch hitting experience when you're facing that kind of fuel.
Now James will face Shin-Soo Choo. Choo reached on an error and scored his last time up. Will Harris allowing an unearned run in his 1 inning of work after Choo scored that run. Takes one down for ball 1. We mentioned Ryan Presley has been used 2 straight nights. Roberto Osuna had been pretty much rested until last night. He had gone 4 or 5 days in a row without pitching until he got in the game last night against the Angels, so he should be fine if the Astros need him in the 9th inning. 1-1 to count. There goes the runner, swing and a miss. Chirinos' throw is not quite in time. Stolen base for Asdrubal Cabrera. Not a lot of steals for Cabrera, but he picks his spots. He's 4 for 4 now on the year.
I think he's kind of picking on the situation. Does a good job of running himself into scoring position for a base hit. Josh James is ultimately more focused on the hitter right now.
Ahead of Choo, 1-2. Held up on a pitch down, 2-2. Rangers have had at least 1 base runner on in every inning tonight. 10 hits. A couple of walks in the mix and an error as well.
Overthrew the changeup. There's a lot of movement behind home plate with Robinson, Chirinos trying to keep the veterans, Cabrera and Choo, from communicating with each other to give away location.
Side ball 4. Choo draws a walk. 1st and 2nd now with 2 away. They'll get a visit from pitching coach Brent Strom.
Sometimes we see Josh James maybe get a little too excited and overthrow some pitches. I think we saw that with a couple of changeups. And this might be the conversation that Brent Strom is trying to have. Slow down the heart rate, slow Josh James down a little bit. Focus on the signs being given and focus on executing those signs.
James will have to face one of the hottest hitters in all of baseball lately, Danny Santana. Santana 3 for 4 tonight. And now 17 for his last 30 during a 7-game hitting streak. Tying run on second, go ahead run on first, 2 outs in the 8th. Towards the middle, off the mound, Miles Straw is there, and the Astros strand 2 more. We head to the bottom of the 8th, still 4-3. get out and play, as did by Toyota. And these two teams don't always get out and play nicely together. This is a Lone Star rivalry where over the years there's been a little bit of an issue between these two sides. Hank Conger, Rugnet Odor, Big Prince right in the middle of that one, playing peacemaker.
How about manager to manager going on right there? AJ pushing back on Banny.
Alice Keuchel never liked the Texas Rangers whenever he faced them. The Astros call it the Lone Star Series. The Rangers call it the Silver Boot Series. They don't even call it the same thing in this rivalry. Lance McCullers was ready for action on that pitch and was excited after this strikeout against Mike Napoli.
I like the fire.
Yeah, it's good to have a rival. And lately it's been advantage Astros, but there was a stretch there when you first started broadcasting where it wasn't quite that way.
Yeah, we dreaded going into Arlington, and we dreaded having the Rangers here.
Astros the last two seasons dominating the season series, and this year up 8-6 as Jose Leclerc takes over.
Seeing Leclerc a lot recently in this series, this matchup between both Texas teams, but that ERA on the road 5.09. It's been an interesting year to say the least for Jose Leclerc.
Alex Bregman 1 for 3 with a home run. He was part of back-to-back home runs in the third inning. He was the second of the trio. Alex now with a team leading 26 home runs on the season. You're right about the trials and tribulations of Jose Leclerc, moving from the closer's role to trying to get back into that back end of the bullpen role. Tonight pitching in a game with his team down 4-3. Inside, 3-1 on Bregman, who has drawn 15 walks in his last 11 games, now second in the AL with 76 walks. New battery for the Rangers, not only Leclerc in the game, but the new catcher is Tim Fedorovich. There's a strike. Isaiah Kiner Falefa is on an injury rehab, so Fedorovich and Mathis the catchers for the Rangers. Oh! Good to see Alex get up quickly. That ball hit him up in the helmet.
That was a terrible pitch from Jose Leclerc. I don't believe there was any intent behind that. That is just a pitcher who has been struggling on the season, and a lot of the reason he's been struggling, command. And thank goodness, number one for helmets, but thank goodness that Alex Bregman is quick enough to turn his back and get out of the way and turn that into a deflective blow instead of something directly to his head.
Fifth hit batter of the year issued by Leclerc. Now here's Yordan Alvarez. 22 walks and 5 hit batters in 43 2/3 innings. So command has been an issue for Jose Leclerc this season. Now he picks up the edge on Alvarez. It's 1-1. Yordan with a mammoth 474-foot home run. 1 for 3 tonight. A couple of strikeouts. Hitting the Astros' longest home run in the StatCast era in 5 seasons. This one fouled the other way, down to the count 1-2. Astros would love to push another run or two across here in the bottom of the 8th. Try and give Roberto Osuna an insurance run or two. Osuna warming up here in this 4-3 game. We mentioned the Lone Star battle between the Astros and the Rangers. Back in 2013, it was 17-2 in favor of the Rangers.
Yeah.
And then 15-16, 28-10 combined. Astros, though, 12-7 in back-to-back seasons. And this year up 8-6.
Here we go.
That was the same pitch, basically, that hit Bregman.
Yeah, you somehow, in the big leagues, should be able to find a way to control that pitch instead of missing by that much. But you're right. You know, a lot of those hit by pitches and some of the bench clearing type situations were really created around that middle of 15-16 seasons when the Astros felt they were a better team, yet were losing to the Rangers. Maybe a little frustration coming out, but it was kind of fun to see them go out there and try and stand up against the Rangers.
On the ground, out at first. Bregman tagged at second, and he'll be out there for a double play. So Alvarez grounds into a double play here in the 8th.
The Lone Star Series presented by Texas Lottery is in full swing all weekend long. Tomorrow night, the pursuit of the Silver Boot continues with an Astros tote bag giveaway presented by MLB Network. For tickets and info, visit astros.com/tickets.
2 outs, bases cleared. Here's Yuli Gurriel. Yuli a home run and 3 at bats. In terms of scoring opportunities, the Astros have stranded 4 runners tonight. They have hit into a couple of double plays, including one this inning. But the Rangers have left 11 men on base through their 8 innings worth of at bats. Out of play, it's 1-2. Osuna will have to go through the teeth of the Rangers order in the 9th inning. 3, 4, and 5 hitters due up. Elvis Andrus, Joey Gallo, and Hunter Pence. Holds up 2-2. Yuli with that home run his first time up, now an 8-game hitting streak. Inside at 98, 3-2. Swing and a miss. Astros go down in the 8th. They will head to the 9th. Roberto Osuna will be on in a 4-3 game. Astros baseball on AT&T Sportsnet is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Gallery Furniture. Gallery saves you money and delivers today. 4-3 Astros lead. The difference in the game right now is this 474-foot mammoth blast into the right field upper deck by Yordan Alvarez. He hits his 10th home run of the season. That was part of back-to-back home runs. Now it's time for T-Mobile's connection to the game. Yordan certainly, despite being called up on June the 9th, should be considered for American League Rookie of the Year. Austin Meadows, Michael Chavis having good seasons, but closing fast is the big man out of Cuba.
Yeah, I can't wait to see these numbers, maybe to start the month of September, because you're right, he is closing quickly and definitely throwing his name into the mix for Rookie of the Year.
Now in the 9th inning, Roberto Osuna on to face Elvis Andrus. Andrus with an RBI ground out his last time up. 0 for 4 tonight with a couple of strikeouts is Andrus. Osuna pitched in last night's game for the Astros. Now it's 2-0.
There's the numbers on Roberto Osuna. He picked up that 20th save in Arlington. Didn't have the opportunity in Los Angeles to pick up a save, but pitched a clean inning, like Todd said yesterday, striking out 3 Angels to finish off that road trip.
Towards the middle, having to hurry his straw. He does, makes the play. Big first out for the Astros in the 9th. Make sure to stay tuned for the Astros postgame show presented by Whataburger. Julia Morales will host the postgame show along with Mike Stanton as they will discuss the Astros home run derby tonight. All 4 runs scoring on solo home runs. Justin Verlander going for his 12th win of the year, and Michelle Margot will gather interviews after this game. All that coming up on the Astros postgame show following the game. Here's Joey Gallo. Missed the changeup, 0-1. You know, when it comes to Osuna, fastball, slider, changeup, cutter, he's kind of equal opportunity in terms of getting strikeouts on all 4 of his pitches. But in that game against the Angels last night, he got all his strikeouts on the changeup. As he misses upstairs with his changeup, it's 1-1.
And the way the pitch was reacting in the 2-strike count, it looked a little more like a split because the velocity was the same, but just the way it was tumbling in there and avoiding bats at the last second showed great depth on that pitch. Not quite to that extent.
That one tumbled. But was not enticing as it bounced 55 feet from the pitching rubber. Yeah, Osuna's changeup usage up about 5% from last year to this year.
And I think that's what makes him unique. At a young age, 24, 25 years old, being able to throw that many pitches, not fear throwing them in any counts, gives you an idea of the personality and the ability to adapt in Roberto Osuna. Not to mention, he can hesitate at the top of his windup. He can quick pitch you. So you've got to be pretty well prepared to face Roberto Osuna at the tail end of ball games.
But now he's fallen behind Gallo 3-1. Gallo looks at the hesitation and misses the cutter down in the bottom of the zone. 3-2.
Cutter at 93.
How about that?
Pretty impressive, but that's that hesitation that throws off the timing of the hitter.
See the difference between Gallo ahead of the count, behind in the count. High pop-up, way up there. Who wants it? Marisnik in center field. Puts it away for out number 2. That was a major league fly ball out.
Yeah, here at Minute Maid with the roof closed, it almost turned into a roof scraper. Wow.
So now Osuna will face Hunter Pence. Pence has been on base 3 times tonight, a couple of hits and a walk. Just his 3rd game back from coming off the injured list.
How about the visual? Watch the angle of the ball off the bat. That's why it got close to the roof.
And ended up in center field.
Yeah.
1-1.
We would call those home runs in an elevator shaft.
Well, this sellout crowd, sometimes they wait till 2 strikes, but a Friday night sellout crowd, they're going to start getting to their feet here in a 1-1 count. It's down 2-1. Well, for those that were sitting, that's no longer an option. Omar Mazara is on deck, but Osuna would prefer to finish it off right here. Full count to Hunter Pence. On the ground, one big hop to Bregman. Wide throw, tag out, Astros win 4-3. Astros defeat the Rangers 4-3 to start this homestand. They are now 5-0 at home against the Rangers this season, and they lead in the Lone Star Series 9-6. Blummer, that's a good way to kick off the homestand.
Yes, it is. Carrying some of the momentum after Jake getting hit in Anaheim. They stepped it up. Won the last 2 games of the road trip to split, but they've been very good here at home, the Astros have. And with their ace on the mound, they went out and picked him up and got that win. Welcome back.
Thanks, Blummer. Great to work with you again.
Believe it.
Astros victorious. We'll have plenty more, including the post-game show, coming up after this.